What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here, product specialist at BMW Morristown. That's Austin behind the camera, and in today's video we're going to be doing an option overview or a feature breakdown type of video on this 2022 X5. The option that we're going to be talking about is the parking assistance package, optional on BMW models. On the X5 it's an $800 option that includes 4 distinct features. So with the parking assistance package, you get the active park distance control, you get drive recorder, you get the parking assistant plus, and you also get the surround view with 3D view camera system. So it's a really feature-packed option. It's a great value at $800. You get 4 really impressive features that we're going to go over. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what you get in the parking assistance package, as well as why these things are useful, how to use the features that are included, and why I think you should option it on your BMW if you're ordering one. So to start off, while we're outside of the car, I just want to point out that it does come with some additional hardware. One of those things is this little camera right here in between the front grills. You do have parking sensors located throughout the bumpers. Those are these little dots right here. Those are your ultrasonic parking sensors. You get that front camera. And if we take a look at the side of the car, it does also come with an additional little camera right down here underneath the side view mirror. So those are the cameras that the system uses to create the 3D image, as well as kind of help you with all of those parking assistance features. It has a bunch of sensors and cameras around the car to help it have as comprehensive of a view as possible. So with the hardware out of the way, let's hop inside and talk about all those 4 things that you get with the parking assistance package. All right, so here we are inside of the 2022 X5 to demo those 4 features that we talked about. First one is going to be the active park distance control. Those are your ultrasonic parking sensors. So let's talk about those first. First thing I want to point out is this button down here next to the shifter. This button is going to be your best friend when it comes to using all the features in the parking assistance package, because once we press it, if we take a look at the iDrive screen, it pulls up our rear view camera, our top-down camera, as well as all of our options for our parking features and options. So this is the screen that you'll see by default when you put the car in reverse, but you can also pull it up manually by pressing that button that we talked about down there in the center console. So once this screen is up, the parking sensors are active by default. So if I were to back up near something, the car would beep at me and it would stop if it needed to, if I got too close automatically. However, there are some settings that I want to point out that are configurable. For one, we want automatic park PDC activation to be checked off. That's what allows the parking sensors to come on automatically. We want our active brake distance, or our active park distance control with braking intervention to be checked off as well. That's going to let the car stop when something is blocking the car in the back or from the sides. We want our automatic parking to be checked off. We want the alerts to be active as well. We want our cross traffic warning to be on. We want our panorama view to be on. We want all of that stuff to be checked off if you want to use the full suite of features, and then you can adjust the volume of your PDC signal. Why don't we actually turn that up a little bit so you guys can hear it on camera. So that stuff, the parking sensors are standard on most BMWs. I believe all BMWs sold in the US come standard with parking sensors. What they don't come standard with, though, and what the active park distance control, which is part of the parking assistance package that we're talking about, gets you, is that automatic braking in the rear and on the sides. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to throw the car in reverse here and back out of this parking spot. We've set up a cone as an obstacle to demonstrate for you guys. So I'm just going to back straight up to this cone and show you guys how those parking sensors work, as well as the automatic braking. So as I get close to the cone, you'll hear now the car's beeping, and as I get closer, it beeps a little faster. And once I get to within 12 inches or 1 foot, it's going to be a solid beep like that, and then the car is going to come to a stop. So the car just came to a stop on its own. I didn't do that. That is the active park distance control with braking in action. So when you come up to an object that is in the rear of the car that you're going to hit, the car will stop for you. I'm just going to pull away here so we're not sitting in the middle of the road. But that is the active park distance control feature of the parking assistance package. The next one that we're going to talk about is drive recorder. So let's go over that now. All right, so the next feature that we're going to talk about is the drive recorder. That is the second of the 4 features included in the parking assistance package. Drive recorder can be found under the apps in the car. You can go to installed apps and then drive recorder. So once you pull up the drive recorder, you have 3 options. You can either start a recording, view your saved recordings, or go to the settings. Let's run through the settings really quick. What drive recorder is basically a built-in dash cam for your car. And in the settings menu, you can adjust how you want the drive recorder to operate. Primarily, the only settings that you'll really be adjusting are how long you want the recording to record before and after the trigger. So if we go through these, 20 seconds is the longest on both. So I want the longest recording possible to capture all the action, so we'll set it to 20. You can also select which cameras you want it to use. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't just want all. And then down here, you can choose whether you want the recording to be activated manually or automatically or both. I say use both. I'll show you how to do manual and how the automatic works as well. So while we are talking about drive recorder, it is important to notice this button down here right above the parking sensor button. This is your panoramic camera button. This is the button that you'll be using to activate the drive recorder manually. So if you see something that you want to record, hold this button down for enough time and it will start recording the surroundings of the car using those cameras that we talked about in the beginning of the video. It can also activate automatically. If we take a look in here, the automatic recording type allows you to start a recording when an accident situation is detected. So if the car detects that an accident has occurred, it will automatically record. And what it does is, as you can see by these settings, it records 20 seconds before the trigger and 20 seconds after the trigger as well. So you'll capture what happened before the accident as well. So you have all the video that you need to show an insurance company or something like that, or if you see something cool on the road, you want to record it, you'll have 20 seconds before and after. So let's just give you guys an example of what this might look like. We'll do a manual recording because as informative as it may be, I don't want to get in an accident, just to demonstrate how the automatic recording works, so we'll do it manually. So I'm just driving along. Let's say I want to record something. We can be on our home screen. We don't have to be on any specific screen. All I have to do is hold down on this little camera button in the center console, and you'll see it pops up recording in progress. So it just recorded the previous 20 seconds, and it will record another 20 seconds, or until I press OK, or you can obviously cancel the recording as well. So we'll just let it ride out for these last couple seconds here. Let the recording run its course. So it says that a new recording has been saved. Now you can either go look at the recording or press OK. Let's see the recording on date and time, and then you can watch the recording right here. So you can see it's real time. You can see like the trucks and the cars over there in Ridgedale Ave moving around. You can see my movement as well, and it gets all the angles. So you have your front, your rear, as well as your both sides. So it is a pretty comprehensive recording. You get all the angles that you would need. And then if you wanted to export that, you could just plug into the USB here and then click export down here, or you can delete it, pause it, whatever you want to do. So that is the drive recorder. You can obviously see your saved recordings. If we go in here, it'll show us all our different recordings. So that is the drive recorder app. Let's move on to the next feature in the parking assistance package, which is the automatic parking, or Parking Assistant Plus. All right, so here we are in the parking lot. We're going to demonstrate how the Parking Assistant Plus, or the self-parking feature, works. So first thing you want to do is press the parking sensor button, which is down in the center console next to the shifter, which we talked about earlier, and that will bring up this screen that we're looking at here. So what you want to do is make sure that this little P with the lines around it is active and shown above the car, and then you want to make sure that automatic parking up here in the top right is checked off. Both of those things are, so we're good to go. Automatic parking is active if we wanted to use it. So all you have to do is pull this screen up and then creep through a parking lot, as we're doing now. We're going to try to park here next to this white X7. In order to do that, just creep through the parking lot as you would if you were looking for a spot on your own. The car will recognize the spot, and it'll make that audible noise to indicate that it has found a spot. That little P in the gray box will pop up, and all you have to do to activate, click that P, foot off the brake, hands off the wheel, and now the car is going to do the parking for me. So the car will control the brakes on its own. However, I always recommend that you keep your foot over the brake just in case. Like it just came to a stop on its own there, but I do have my foot over the brake just in case it does something that I'm not comfortable with. I do generally trust the car, so we'll let it do its thing. It is very careful. It does take a little bit longer to park than I might myself, but it's just being extra careful, and it does generally do a pretty good job at parking straight and between the lines. And so once it's done, it'll come to a stop, it'll make that noise, and it'll put the car in park to indicate that the parking is complete. And as you can see, we're pretty centered in the lines. We're a safe distance away from that parking sign pole right behind us, and we're in the spot. So it did a good job there. It will also work for parallel parking. So if you want to use that same procedure that we just showed for a parallel spot, you can do that. One thing to note though, after you do use the self-parking feature, it will deactivate itself. So you just have to check it back off if you want to use it again. But that is how the self-parking works. One thing that's kind of lumped in to the Parking Assistant Plus in the Parking Assistance package is the Backup Assistant, which works in a similar way to the self-parking. So let's go over Backup Assistant real quick right now. So the Backup Assistant is accessed in this same menu that you would get to the automatic parking. Just press the Parking Assistance button or the parking sensor button down next to the shifter, pull up this screen, and you have Backup Assistant right over here. So what the Backup Assistant does is remember your previous 164 feet of driving maneuvers, and then it replays those maneuvers in reverse. So you can drive 164 feet, make a bunch of turns, activate the Backup Assistant, and it'll make those same turns that you made, except in reverse. So let's show you guys how that works. I'm going to throw the car in drive. We'll go on a short trip over to this other parking spot next to where we were. And now let's say we want to back up back to that spot that we were just previously in. I'm going to press the Backup Assistant. It's going to ask me to engage reverse, so I'll engage reverse. It tells me that there's 65 feet to go, and the car is controlling the steering. With the Backup Assistant, you do have to control the speed yourself. So I am modulating the brake pedal here, and it's just going to back us into that spot that we were in previously because it remembers that that's where we were. And it'll give you a little warning, end of route reach shortly when you reach about 8 feet left. You can see 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot, and we're back. So end of route reached, take vehicle control over, which we did, put the car back in park, and that is how the Backup Assistant worked. It's pretty neat. It remembers your movements pretty well, so something a little more advanced, like you can do some side-to-side stuff like this. And then if you click the Backup Assistant again and put it in reverse, you guys will see that it'll remember those kind of zigzags that I was doing. And we have some traffic here in the road here, so I'll cancel the Backup Assistant, but you guys get the point. It works pretty well. Remembers those driving maneuvers that you do. So that is the Backup Assistant. We do have one more thing to talk about with the Parking Assistance package, and that is the Surround View 3D camera. So let's go over that right now. All right, so the final feature in the Parking Assistance package is your Surround View 3D camera. So go back to this menu that we're familiar with at this point, and all you do is click on the left side of the screen here. There's a little car you can click on, or you can just toggle your iDrive knob over to the left and then click on 3D View. So when you click on 3D View, you get a 3D view of the car from the outside. So there are two different ways to, as I activate gesture control, two different ways to configure or move around the car. So one way is on this right side of the screen, we can tap these little white tabs and go to that angle that corresponds to the white tab. So you have the front 3/4, side, rear 3/4, so on and so forth. Or you can use gesture control. So you can make this gesture right here, like the OK sign, and then move it horizontally across the screen like this to scroll around the car. You can release the gesture and then make it again to like pinch and drag, which works really well and makes it a little bit easier to circle around the car. Super useful for, like, I tend to use this feature when I'm parallel parking. There's a curb right here. It makes it super easy to see the curb and gauge your distance, make sure you're nice and close to that curb. So this is the 3D camera, and it is the fourth and final feature that is included in the Parking Assistance package. And while we're talking about the package, I just want to remind you guys that everything we've talked about in this video is available in the Parking Assistance package. In the X5, it's an $800 package. So really value packed. You get a lot of different features that are all super useful and easy to use. We find that our clients use these features a lot. When they get the package, they're happy they got it. So for $800, it's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. Everything's really useful. So that is the 3D camera. Let's head outside and we'll wrap up. All right, so that's going to do it for this video on the parking assistance package. Hopefully that gave you guys a good idea of what all is included in that package, how to use everything if you already have a BMW with that package, or maybe convince you to order that package on a BMW if you're planning on ordering a new one. Like I said, for $800, it's a no-brainer. It has so many features, and it's, I mean, $800 on a car like the X5 starts in the 60s. Kind of a no-brainer. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful. If you have any questions about anything we talked about, please drop it in a comment below, or if you have video suggestions for the future, drop that down in a comment below. But that's going to do it for this one. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at BMW Morristown, or give us a call at 973-455-0700. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.